We're going to take 113 divided by what? 4. Now watch what I'm doing here though. Okay, so I'm doing 113 divided by 4. I'm just going to do it this old school way. Thinking about it, 113. 4 into 11 goes how many times? 2, right? Now this is kind of going with this lattice idea also. 4 goes into that twice. Twice would be what? 2 times 4 is? 8.
There's 3 left over.
There's 3, and then I got 3. I got to do what with this 3?
Drop it.
Drop it down. 4 into 33 goes what?
8. No.
8. Yep, 8.
You have a remainder of
32. What's left over?
1.
1. What do I do with the 1?
You add a 0.
You put it over the 4. This is 28 and a quarter, or 28.25. Isn't that what you do with it? You just put it over whatever the divisor was.
Whoa.
If I end up with the remainder over here, I'm just going to put it over x minus what? 7. Now I didn't have a remainder there, but if I do, that's all it is. It's just a remainder over the divisor.
How?
That just clicked and it was kind of scary.
Well, think about that. If you did that on a calculator, let's say you did it on a calculator. 113 divided by 4, right? What's it going to do? Give you 28.25. But 0.25 is what? 1/4. It's still the remainder over the what? Divisor. It's the same thing. It's just in fraction form rather than decimal form. Okay? So we've done this a million times, and yet you've never really understood why in the heck the remainder is over the divisor. But really, that's what we do when we do division, long division. We're doing the same thing as we do these. All right, let's do the next one, which is what? And you'll see how this comes into play when we start getting remainders. Okay, but that idea that the remainder goes over the divisor at the end is still true. By the way, this is really being added, if you think about it. What's 28 plus a quarter? 28.25, right? It's really being added at the end, okay? So just keep that in mind as we go. All right, let's try the next one. This one still has the x minus 7, right? Okay, but this time, and what do I like to do at the bottom? What do I like to write? I like to write the equation. It just reminds me. Do you have to do this? No, but trust me, it makes your life easier. Okay, this will make your life easier. Okay, now, what should I put in that first spot then? X what? Cube. Came from right there. I'm going to put it right there. X goes into x cubed how many times? X squared times negative 7 is negative 7 what?
X squared.
X squared. This box here, what should go in this box? If this is negative 7x squared and I want to get negative 10x squared,
3x.
negative 3x squared. X into negative 3x squared, how many times? Negative 3 what? X. Negative 3x times x is negative 3x what? Squared. Okay, but I got to take the negative 3x and times it to the what? Negative 7 for the next box. So this becomes what?
Negative 21x.
Sorry, I got to make these boxes bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, it's positive 21x. Well, that's fine and dandy, but I wish it was what? 23. So 21 plus what? 2x. That's what goes there. Oh, x into 2x is 2. 2 times negative 7 is negative what? 14. If those match, do I need anything here? No, remainder is what? 0 again. What's my answer then?
Whoa, slow down.
X squared minus 3x plus 2. By the way,
What's the one
look up above.
What's the one underneath?
Yeah,
X?
the 2x.
Oh, negative 14. Sorry,
That's
I
the
went
one in
kind
the
of fast
second
there.
box on the top row.
Negative 14.
That's negative 3x.
That's a 3.
This is negative 3x squared. Where did it come from? Where did the negative 3x squared come from?
The negative 3 times new x.
Not quite. How did I get the negative 3x in that box though?
Because you.
It was x squared times negative 7 gave me negative 7x squared. And I wish it was what?
Negative 10x squared.
Negative 10x squared. So how do I make negative 7x squared be negative 10x squared?
Negative 3x.
I minus 3x squared. These top boxes are the hard boxes to fill in. Okay, so think about this. How did I get the 2x?
Is 21x
I had 21x from taking negative 3 times negative 7. I had the 21x, and then I said I needed what? 23, so that's how I got a what there? 2x. It's important to know how these boxes come about. Okay? All right. Let's try. Now, by the way, the other one is going to end up being 3x squared minus 4x plus 7. How do I know that?
Can we do this one?
Sure, if you want.
Please, okay.
But how do I know it's going to be that answer? Because notice, the top ones have always been the polynomial that you're multiplying by. I'm dividing by the same thing that my answers were. Okay, but we'll do it. It's going to end up being 3x squared minus 4x plus 7. But some of you can notice that. Okay, so I'm going to put 5x, and I'm going to put a what? Negative 2. Okay? Drawing it out. Doesn't matter how long it is. Don't worry about the length. Okay? What I do know is the first box is going to be, and you don't have to write down the numerator down there, but I do usually. So I'm going to write it down for myself. Okay, and that is that I have 15x what? Cubed minus 10x.
26.
What is it? 10x, or 26x, my bad. 26x what? Squared plus what?
43x.
43x, and then minus what?
14.
14. I'm just going to write that along the bottom. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just helping me along the way. But I like doing that. It makes it easier. Okay. All right, what goes in the very first box? This is the important part.
15x cubed.
The 15x cubed. This first term always goes in this first box.
Which means that it's...
Now I start doing my dividing. Okay? So the first division is really easy. Whitley, what's the first division going to be? 15x cubed divided by 5x is going to be what? 3 what? X what? Squared. Yeah, there's going to be, one of the x's will divide out. There will be 2 x's left. And there's going to be a 3. That part's easy. The next step is where you have to start thinking. What should I do next, Isaac? What should I do with that 3x squared?
3x squared.
Multiply it to what?
Negative
And that gives me,
2. Negative 6x squared.
that does. Now comes the real thinking. Sid, what do I have to ask myself?
What adds
What adds to negative 6x squared to give me
26.
negative 26x squared? So how do I go from negative 6 on a number line to negative 26?
Negative 20.
I've got to subtract 21 x squared. Everybody got that? That is the key part. Does everybody understand how I got that negative 20? That's the hardest part of this problem. How did I get the negative 20? I said, well, I have negative 6 off the multiplication, but then I have to subtract 20 more to get negative 26 down here. Okay? Now, I just divide it. Now it's pretty simple doing the dividing part. Okay? So Maggie, what's negative 20x squared divided by 5x? Negative, yes. It's important she puts the negative, which is right. Negative what? 4, and then what? X. Make sure you keep the sign as you do the division. Okay, a lot of kids forget that. Now what am I going to do with the negative 4x, Jax? This is important. This is where you have to start thinking, what am I doing? I'm kind of starting to work backwards here. Okay. Multiply it by negative 2. That gives me what? What's the negative times the negative? Positive 8 what? I've got to get to what? 43. So this is the tricky part. Getting that next box is the hardest part. And I've got to think, hey, I got to get to 43 and I'm at 8. Really, I take 43 minus what? 8. That's how I get there, right? 43 minus 8 is 35x. What is 35x plus 8x? Better dang well be the 43, right? That's how I got it. So it better be the 43. All right, now what? Now I'm going to say, hey, yeah, 35x divided by 5x is 7. So these numbers are coming from this division of this top line. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
These top numbers are coming from the division of this line. Okay? This is just a 7. Why doesn't it have an x with it? Well, the x is divided what? Out. So 35 divided by 5 is 7. The x is divided out. Now what should I do next? 7 times negative 2, which is what? If that matches this, there's no what?
other number.
There's no remainder. This is my answer. Did I tell you that was going to be the answer before we even started?
Yep.
Yep, because I just saw the one above it. The problem above it is the multiplication. So it has to be the same as the division, right? Okay. Now we're going to get into ones that we don't have answers for. I have no idea what the answer is on the last two on the bottom. Are you with me on that? Zero clue what it's going to be. Okay? Because I don't know yet. I haven't done the multiplication. But I can do the division. So let's do the division on the bottom part. Okay? Derek, what should I write down the left side? X and what else? And 3. I'm going to have 2 rows, an X and a 3. Everybody see that? That always is the what? What goes down the left side? Always.
The two numbers?
No, the numbers in the what? Bottom. That's very good, Autumn. The bottom numbers are what goes on that side. Yes?
What if there's only one number?
What if there's only one? Then I only put what? 1. I only put 1. And I only am going to have the line straight out. So that one's easy. That's like when I did the 8x squared plus 10x divided by 2x. Notice how I just put the 2x out to the side, and I just put the numbers in. 8x squared plus what? 10x. See, that was easy. Those are easy when I only have one number at the bottom. It becomes super easy. But the problem is when I have what? 2 or 3 in the bottom, 3, and it's not numbers, it's terms. Are you with me? When I have 2 or 3 terms in the bottom, it becomes difficult. And this is hard. I'm telling you, this is hard. So if you can do this stuff, you're doing great. Again, do I care how long that is?
No.
I don't really care. I'll just end it when I'm done. The key is the first box. And I want to put my division down here. It just makes my life easier if I put it down here. I put what?
X cubed.
X cubed, and then I put minus 2x what?
Squared.
Squared minus
19x.
19x, and then I put negative 20. Okay? And I just say, okay, those are going to help me as I go. I don't have to put them, but it's nice to have them. Okay, now what should I put in the very first box?
X to the third.
That's the x cubed. Okay, now I divide it. How many times does x go into x cubed?
X squared.
In other words, what multiplies to x to make x cubed? X squared. What do I do with the x squared?
Times it by 3.
Yeah, this becomes my second row. It's always the multiplication of what's on top to that second value. Okay, and this becomes what? 3x squared. However, I don't want it to be 3x squared. Sid, what do I want it to be?
I can't read your number.
Negative 2 what? You don't have to read my writing. It's on your paper.
No, well,
Look on your paper. It's negative 2 what? That's what I want it to be. What is it?
3x squared.
How in the heck do I go from 3x squared
Negative
Minus
x.
minus what?
Negative x.
5.
What?
What?
Well,
Think about a number
it's
line.
positive and the 2
I'm at 3. I want to get to negative 2. How do I get there?
You gotta go 5 backwards, okay.
I got to go minus what? 5x squared. How in the heck did I get that, really?
Wow.
How did I get there, really? I took this number
When you added it.
minus that number. If you want to write that down, that's a smart thing to do. I have to go back to find this value. I always take whatever this number is minus that value. Now, if it's minus a negative, it becomes what? Positive or whatever. But in this case, I have to take negative 2x squared minus 3x squared. What's negative 2x squared minus 3x squared? Negative what? 5x squared. See how I subtracted there? That's all I did. Okay, now what do? I got to divide. Negative 5x squared divided by x. Negative 5x. It's easy when it's just an x, right? Because it just divides one less exponent, right? Okay, what do I do with that negative 5x? Multiply it to the 3. What does it give me? Negative what?
15x.
15x. What's going to go here? I want to get to where? I want to get to negative 19. Again, I go negative 19 minus a negative 15. What's minus a negative? Plus 15. And you're going to get negative what? 4x. See how you're really subtracting every time? But somehow your brain works better when it's all going in the same direction. When I switch directions on you, your brain's like, whoa, 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 what just happened, right? Like on the previous one. But this one makes sense. I'm going to go from negative 15. I got to subtract 4 more to get negative what? 19. On this one, I was at 3x squared. I've got to subtract 5x squared to get to negative 2. But that's what I mean by really you're just subtracting that value from this value. And it goes there. Okay, now I do the division. How many times does x go into negative 4x? I'm going to be done with all my division at this point. How do I know? I'm at the constant value. There's no more what? X's. That's when you know you're going to be done with your division. Now you may have a remainder or something, but pretty much I'm going to be done after I multiply that to that. What do I get? Negative 12. What do I wish it was? How do I get from negative 12 to negative 20? I've got to subtract 8. Again, I'm really taking negative 20 minus negative 12. Negative 20 plus 12 is negative 8. So this is my what? That's my remainder. So how do I write that remainder? Plus negative 8 over what? X plus 3. That's my answer. So this one did have a remainder. Okay? Is it okay to have a remainder? Yeah, it's not even that big a deal. I just put it over whatever the divisor was. The divisor was x plus 3. How do I know I have a remainder and how do I get the remainder? It's going to be the last box after I get done doing the constant. And it's going to get to that negative 20. How did I go from negative 12 to negative 20? And I had to subtract 8. That's the what? Remainder. That's the remainder. That won't divide anymore because x doesn't divide into it evenly. But it becomes the remainder, so I'm just going to put it over the divisor. Okay, let's try another one that has a remainder, which is the next one. Okay, what should I write down the left side, McKay?
You asked me something?
Yep, what should I divide down the left side?
4x minus 3.
So I'm going to put a 4x and I'm going to put a minus 3. Agreed? Okay, what am I going to write along the bottom, Jax, just to keep me in line?
12x cubed minus 29x squared plus 23x plus 8.
Plus 23x plus 8? Okay. All right, just write that down, and trust me, it's so much easier if you'll do this. A lot of kids don't do that, and it makes their life harder. I'm just trying to make it easier. Okay? What goes in the very first box? Very first box, Isaac.
12x cubed.
Yep, it's the very first term here. Always goes here. Okay? Now I gotta what? I gotta divide. Remember, I'm dividing this top row every time. Okay? I'm dividing the top row every time. So 12x squared divided by 4x is, oh, wait, this is cubed time. My bad, I didn't write it right. 12x cubed divided by 4x is 3x squared. Do I just write 3x squared here?
No.
No. I've got to what?
Times them.
I've got to multiply. 3x squared times negative 3 is negative 9x what?
Squared.
Squared. Is that what I want?
No.
What did I want?
29.
I want a negative 29. So negative 29 minus a negative 9, which is plus 9, ends up being what? Negative 20x squared. By the way, if I add those, should I get that? It's just a quick check you want to do in your mind.
Yep.
Yep, that's perfect. Okay, now what?
Divide.
Divide. 4 into negative 20.
Negative 5.
Just like Maggie said, make sure you put the negative there. Negative what? 5 what? X. Because one of the x's divided out. What do I do with that negative 5x? Times it to the negative 13. Negative times a negative is a
You mean 3?
positive 15 what?
13.
Yeah, it's 3, not 13.
Oh, 3, whatever. 5 times 3 is
15.
15 what?
X.
Is that what I wanted it to be?
No.
Dang it. What did I want it to be?
23x.
What do I got to add to it then? I've got to add 8 more. How did I get 8? I really did 23 minus 15. Notice you're subtracting every time. Okay, so that's how I got the 8x. What do I do with the 8x? Divide it by what?
2.
4x. Oh, I'm going to be done with my division after this one because I'm down to a constant. 2, right? What do I do with that 2 though?
Times it by negative.
Times it to the negative 3, which is negative what?
6.
6, but I've got to get to 8 from negative 6.
Is it not the remainder?
How many do I have? No, the negative 6 is not the remainder.
That'd be 14.
I've got to get to 8 from negative 6. Here's how I'm going to get the remainder. It comes from this. How do I get from, if I start at negative 6, how am I going to get clear to 8?
14.
I've got to add what?
14.
That is the what?
Remainder.
That's the remainder. Okay? And that's a big mistake that a lot of kids make is exactly what, I forgot her name, Allie? It's exactly what Allie said, and that is seriously a mistake a lot of kids make, is that they will do what? They'll put -6 as their remainder, when really their remainder is what?
Negative 14.
Is positive 14, because I gotta go from -6 to what? 8. So I've gotta get to 8, the only way to do that is to add 14 to that -6.
14 over
So this
4x
becomes
minus
14 over what?
4x minus 3.
4x, what is it?
Minus 3.
4x minus 3, and that's my answer. Everybody got it?
Yep.
Okay, flip the page over. You're responsible for the next one. Jess,
For these ones, do we have to do the box?
say what?
For the ones that only have,
For the ones on the top, do you have to do the box? No. So 1 through 4, you don't have to do the box if you don't want to. How come? Well, you're really just dividing it, like you're doing -6. So if I was doing number 3, I'm really just going like this.
Well, why is it 30?
It's number 3.
I'm doing number 3.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that really all I'm doing? Yeah. So on these, do I really need to do a box? I can put it as a box, it doesn't matter. That is the box. Okay, so it doesn't really matter because that is the box anyway. What do I do on this one? What do I do on number 3? I ask myself, what multiplies to -6x to make 30x squared? What is it?
Negative 5x.
It's -5x squared, right?
2x,
In other words, 30 divided by -6. What's 12x squared divided by -6?
2x.
What's a positive divided by a negative? Negative 2 what?
X.
X. What's -18 divided by -6? Negative divided by negative is a
Positive. so
positive what?
3.
3. That's my answer. No remainder there. Right? Because there was nothing left over after I did that. Pretty simple.